I know a tequila shot when I see one. I know a tequila shot when I see one.
Yes. What's up, Wendy? What's going on, bro?
Wendy missed the scene.
That's right.
That's all right, Wendy. We got to live through Brick here for a minute, which was really cool. Okay, so that was obviously Stephen A. on General Hospital as Brick.
I wouldn't say I missed it.
You saw it.
Oh, okay. He saw it, in and out of it. Very good, Stephen A.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I got
good.
some work to do, but I'm getting there.
You're getting there. All right, Brick, talk about bricks. There was quite a few at the United Center on my Bulls side last night. Let's go to what happened in Chicago. Luka Doncic just dominated the Bulls to the tune of 46 points, 7 boards, and 12 assists in a 129-118 Lakers win. Doncic did a lot of his damage from beyond the arc, going 8 of 14 from 3. Luka's 9th career game with 45 and 10 assists ties James Harden for the second most in NBA history, trailing only Nate Archibald's 12. Monday marked Luka's 65th career regular season game with the Lakers, and he became the 4th fastest player to score 2,000 points with the franchise in NBA history. Forget the mess that happened in Chicago. How close are the Lakers now to being a title threat? Perk.
They're not far off. Do I have them picked to win the West? No, I don't. I can't put them above OKC, Denver, or the Spurs, but they're knocking at the door. Let me say this. Luka Doncic is one of the greatest offensive players this game has ever seen. The Lakers could score and put up points with any team in the NBA. The problem is that when you talk about winning championships or being a legit title contender, it got to go to the other end. Now, has Luka stepped it up defensively? Has the Lakers been better defensively? Absolutely. But I got to look at a guy like DeAndre Ayton right now, and that's the only problem that I have. I feel like they're a big man away, a Daniel Gafford player away from actually being legit. Because the way DeAndre Ayton has been looking of late, I can't roll with the Lakers solely because he's a guy that's not playing with force. Forget not being a real legitimate offensive threat as far as being a live threat at the basket. Defensively, those numbers, those double-doubles that he may put up occasionally is fool's gold. And I just think that they need to make a move at the trade deadline and get athletically at the big position. If they could get a big like a Daniel Gafford, they could compete with the best of them.
Wendy?
Okay, let's talk about what the Lakers have going for them. Okay, Luka is probably right now top 2 for MVP. I think if you had a vote today, he and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be up there. He's having a brilliant season. They are absolutely awesome in the clutch, largely because they have Luka and LeBron, who are awesome clutch players. You get them in a clutch game, they're winning like 95% of those. Austin Reeves is about to come back. If he doesn't come back tomorrow in Cleveland, probably by the end of the week on this road trip. Last night, JJ Redick did something that I thought was fascinating. Even though Luka was red hot, he took Luka off the ball, put the ball in LeBron's hand, and played Luka sort of as the off guard. Luka was totally into it. He hit 8 threes. That is a really interesting way forward. Those are all reasons why you should be excited as a Laker fan. Also, they're a great road team. But when you talk about title contender, what you're talking about is the need to win 3 playoff series, 2, 3 playoff series. And I just think that the Lakers is currently constructed, when they get into a playoff series, they're going to be picked apart defensively. The other team is going to isolate Luka. They're going to isolate LeBron. They're going to isolate Reeves. And they don't have backline help. Last night, DeAndre Ayton got benched again. And that's one of the reasons why in their last 19 games, they're 9-10. Yeah, they've won 4 or 5, but they've been an average team here because of their defensive shortcomings. So, is there a trade that they could make by next week that could help them? Sure. Is there a center out there who can be the pick and roll lob threat that we saw in Dallas with Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford that can also be your backline defense? Yeah, and they have expiring contracts. They have draft stuff they could do, but they're not there. They're top 5. They're out of the play-in zone. That's really well. They're having a good season, but I can't put title contender when your defense is this poor.
Neither can I. That's why I'm going to disagree with Big Perk on this. I mean, I don't disagree with you, Perk, that if they went out and they got a Gafford or somebody, an active big man who takes pride in playing his role. That's the shame of this. Because let me tell you something right now. LeBron James at age 41 is doing his job. He's giving you 22, 6, and 6. Austin Reeves, when he gets back, he clearly has elevated his level of play. He's giving you over 26 a game. You look at Luka Doncic, he's averaging 33 and 11. The brother has just been sensational, no doubt about it. So offensively, you have some of the pieces and guys playing within their role. J.J. Redick, and I think him and his coaching staff, listen, I loved me some Darvin Ham. I was really mad when he departed because he took them to a Western Conference Finals. Then they lost in the first round the following year. But both series went to the Denver Nuggets, led by Jokic. I mean, there's no shame in that, okay? Had they run into somebody else, the Lakers might have advanced deeper. I'm talking about the previous couple of years before they lost to Minnesota last year. But I'm just looking at them and I'm saying J.J. Redick and his coaching staff clearly knows what they're doing. I watched them the other night, Big Perk, about a week or so ago. And how many open shots can you get for your team?
Streaky shooting is another
I mean,
problem.
my God, he got them open shots. They just couldn't bury them. I mean, they're hitting more contested shots than they hit wide open shots. All you got to do is run into the paint and dare them to shoot threes, and they'll miss. This is the Lakers that we're talking about here, right? But offensively, we know they can find a way to get things done when you got Reeves, Luka, and LeBron James. It's defense, okay? And they can't defend anybody. You can take advantage of all three of those guys, plus a plethora of other players on the roster defensively. And when you look at the elite teams in the Western Conference, it's the Spurs, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's the Denver Nuggets, it's the Houston Rockets. Think about opening night. The Houston Rockets had 4 dudes on the floor, 6'11" or taller. Their shortest player on the floor was Amen Thompson. I mean, think about that. And this is an elite defender. So I look at it from that standpoint and I say to myself, this is not a good situation for the Los Angeles Lakers to be in when you can't defend, you can't hit open shots, even if you've got juggernauts offensively that can get it done. Back to DeAndre Ayton real quick. Have you no shame? Have you no shame? You do know that you played in the NBA, right? You know that this is not the Bahamas. This is not the Bahamas. See, the Bahamas is where you relax. That's where you're from. I mean, you relax in the Bahamas. You ain't supposed to be relaxing at the Crypto.com arena. That's or wherever you go wearing purple and gold. That's what he seems to do. And the reason why I want the world to listen to what Perk is saying is because when you're talking about a Daniel Gafford, you're just using him as an example. You're talking about a guy that doesn't need shots to be effective, a guy that doesn't mind defending, that doesn't mind rebounding, that doesn't mind trying to block shots, that doesn't mind letting his physical presence be felt. He's going to be active. What the Lakers need is an active body on their front court with some girth. You know, not a guy like Jackson Hayes, who's athletic but relatively thin. You need somebody like the Big Perk. You need somebody like that. You understand? You need a big boy that don't mind throwing his body around, that's willing to be active. That's all. That's the shame with DeAndre Ayton. He's regressed over the last 4 years, averaging 18 points 4 years ago, then it's 16, then it's 14, now it's 13. And it's all because of a lack of passion. That's really the crime in all of it. He's not a scrub. It's a lack of passion. It's like he just lollygags from time to time. And for some reason, nobody can seem to fix it, fellas.
Perk and Wendy, go ahead, Perk.
He's going to lollygag him.
Well, here's the thing.
He's going to lollygag himself right up out the league. That's what's going to end up happening. Because, you know, when you look at DeAndre Ayton, if you had a problem in Phoenix, you had a problem in Portland, and now you're having a problem in L.A. playing alongside Luka and LeBron, sooner or later, it's not everybody else that's with the problem. It's you. Right. And it's a damn shame to be that physically gifted, athletically, and don't utilize it. Right. And so when you think about the Lakers and you think about this opportunity that he's had, he's playing with some all-time greats. Do you know, you don't take that for granted? I play around, but I call myself a groupie when it comes down to all the Hall of Famers that I played with in my career. And I never took that for granted. From KG to KD to Russ to Rondo to Paul Pierce to Ray Allen, all those guys. DeAndre Ayton better be careful. He better be careful. It ain't going to be too many more times that doors go continue.
By their defensive energy tonight. They really got it going early in the first quarter and not allow them to, get into a rhythmic game where they could make shots. They were not turning the ball over. They were forcing turnovers. The ball was moving. Everyone got some touches, but I thought their defense kind of dictated what they needed to do, and the ball spread. Luka, obviously, just amazing what he was able to do, but he was able to find Hayes on some lobs. He was able to find Ayton on some lobs early. Rui coming off the bench, 33 bench points tonight, 23 of those from Rui. So they got a nice collective effort. Chicago made a run, but the Lakers, they held their own defensively when they needed to. Jake had 3 steals tonight. You know, he was just active, very active team, and they were able to sustain it even when Chicago got it within 6 or 7 points.
Yeah, Danny, they were able to turn them over 15 times, turn it into 23 points. I think James brings up a great point. That first half especially, they were contesting every shot at the rim. They got a few blocks. They were getting out in transition. And what happens when you're playing good defense? Also, the ball's moving.
Yeah.
And everyone's involved.
And it led to good, easy offense. You know, you get out and running some. You know, Luka changing his pace a little bit. But Bron's able to get out and get some easy ones. Jackson Hayes. There was a stretch, again, that they looked a little bit shaky. But they did a great job of keeping Chicago from not shooting a 3 as well for most of the duration of the game. There was, I think it was the third quarter, maybe fourth quarter, they got really hot, started the third. But holding them to under 37%, I don't know what the mark is, but I think that's a pretty good. But they just, I mean, they pretty much played a lot of defense tonight with their offense. They shot it so well, they moved the ball so well. It allowed them to get back and have a set defense. But it also, again, when you're able to score like that, which they've been known to do, especially with Austin Reeves in the lineup, it helps a lot. It's easy to kind of overlook some of the defensive mistakes, but you got to still find ways to fine-tune that end of the floor.
Yeah, Chicago, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. They throw a lot of them up there, and they make a lot, especially over the last handful of games. They made 18, but the Lakers were able to stay right with them, making 16 in a much better percentage. Listen, LeBron set the tone, I thought, in that first half with 20, but you got to start with Luka. 46 points, James, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, 8 threes, and this is his 25th 40-10 game in his career. He's 26 years old, already third most all time.
I think I've told you this before, Geeter. Jerry West and Bill Sharman, those old guys, used to always say to me that NBA players really don't start to peak until you're like 27, 28 years old, after you've been through the gauntlet a little bit, figured out some things. Now, Luka's 26.
Yeah. Only 7 games behind James Harden.
He's getting ready to peak. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine what it's going to come in the next few years? So, yeah, amazing player.
Yeah, year 17 or 18 for James Harden. He's only 7 games behind him. This is year, what for Luka, like 8 or 9, maybe? I
think so.
He's got said if his career stretches to 18, I think he'll catch Oscar. But yeah, he just so great. Doesn't speed up. Nobody speeds him up at his own pace. Makes it look easy. You know, it's kind of like, again, the LeBron and the Jokic, all the greats we talk about, we watch them today. You kind of take it for granted because of how easy and how consistent they do it night in, night out. So he was unbelievable tonight. The efficiency was great, 8 for 14 from 3, which was huge. And then, you know, 15 from 25 from the floor. So you can't ask for a better night from him.
And Danny, it's interesting. Listen, he's going to get 33 every single night. That's what he does, 33, 34. When that 3 ball is falling, early and
Might
late,
be 50.
like it was tonight, that's when he flirts with 50, and he's over 40 every time.
Yeah, so I thought when he started hitting that 3 ball, I think it was around 36-ish, around maybe closer to maybe a little bit after halftime. I was like, he might get 50 tonight. It was like mid-third quarter.
Looked like
he might end up with 50, and he got 46, so we were 4 points off.
So big game, Rui, and I want to show you this over the last couple of games, coming off the bench. He's looking more like himself. And as Luka mentioned to Mike Trudell, you're coming back from injury. It takes a little time. 40 points in his last 2 games.
More like himself. He's looking better than more.
Looking better than he was, yeah. And look at the efficiency. That's 15 for 24 right there. That's 8 for 12 from 3. He was a plus 21 against Dallas, a plus 22 against Chicago. He's hitting big threes late in games as well to extend leads. And I think he's figuring out when and where to get his shots, and coming off the bench as being advantageous as to not, if that makes sense.
It's funny how those players over the years who have figured out what you just said, you know, everybody wants to start. I'm not saying everybody wants to start.
Figured that out.
Starting is important, but this, you know, in order to maximize your talent in your game, and you don't care about starting, I think Rui has figured this out. I don't have to be on the floor with LeBron, maybe not even Luka. I am the man when I come off the bench. All I need to go out and do is produce, be aggressive, realize that I'm the captain of this bench now. And so when I come in, I get work done. And I think he's figuring that out. He's having fun doing it too. I can just tell the way he's moving, the way he's always pumped up and
energy,
cheering.
Right?
There's something going on with him.
Give a little pep to his step for sure.
You're right. It's a great observation. And Danny, you mentioned this in the first quarter when he came in, like, hey, LeBron goes out.
Yeah.
Rui comes in.
Yeah,
it's my time to cook.
I think, exactly. It's my time. That's what he's figured out. Like, this is my time. I found a home. This could be my group. So I can be aggressive. I can be, who I wanted to be when I was in D.C. or even when, Bron has been out or injuries have happened. So, like Big Game was saying, he's taken upon himself to lead this bench group and be the aggressor when he steps on that floor. So now it's like he doesn't have to worry about, all right, Bron's move and Luka's move, like it's their turn. I have to wait in the corner. No, when I come in, I can come in and be aggressive and shoot. And I think he probably prefers it. And I think, JJ loves him in this position. This role for him has been great. He's been super efficient. Hopefully it continues. But yeah, they're still going to need some backup with Austin. But this makes them that much more dynamic in a deeper group when you have a guy like Rudy coming off the bench and averaging 20 points a game.
And look at the bench scoring has now gone up because of what Rui's doing. All of a sudden, here they are with 33 points tonight. And I just loved what he did in that first half. 9 points, but it's the way he got them. 2 off the dribble pull-ups, a 3 on a catch and shoot, a dunk in transition,
block
also
shot.
got the block. Yeah. So that's big-time bench production in the first half. Time to hear from Coach J.J. Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealers.
He's been on a roll over the last 7 games, averaging nearly 14 per game, shooting 47% from the floor, and on 3-pointers, nearly 4 boards per game, and over 2.5 assists. Across the board, better than his season average. Earlier, he spoke with Mike Trudell.
All right, Marcus Smart, kind enough to join us here in Chicago, and I guess I'll get the obligatory question about the weather out of the way. Now, you're a Texas kid. Your bone's not quite built for this, but I'm guessing you didn't spend a ton of time out in the minus whatever degree weather today.
I did not. Being from Texas, it is tough, but, I spent 9 years on the East Coast, so that kind of helped me out a little bit, but this is a different type of cold here, and I didn't spend no time outside at all.
That's what I figured, right? Yeah, Boston toughened you up a little bit, although even there it's not quite the same. Okay, when you went over the film, especially of that comeback, which it was a comeback even though Dallas first came back on you, what stood out when you watched the possession sequence, offense and defense against Dallas?
Just our resiliency. You can kind of feel when things kind of get out of control and you think they're going to snowball and there's no chance that you're going to make a run. That game didn't feel like it. Even though we were down and trying to make a comeback, we were still comfortable, confident. We just had to get our stuff together. We missed a lot of like really close calls, close baskets, buckets that we usually make. So we just have to regain our focus and get back to doing what we do.
All right, so this Chicago team is playing some of their best basketball. They won 4 games in a row since January 8th. They lead the league in 3-point percentage. When a team is kind of hot like that, what are the ways that you try to get into them and slow them down?
You got to be physical. You can't let them run around freely. Their confidence is through the roof, rightfully so. And, when you got confidence like that and you're able to just do what you want to do, it only grows. So we're going to have to come out and play tonight. They've been playing really well, and it's part of it. They're not the same Bulls that we were used to seeing. And that's a good thing. It's going to push us, and we're going to see what we're made of.
You look real comfortable out there. Of course, we remember this is your first year as a Laker. How has that continued to build to this point and playing with Luka, playing with LeBron, especially when the lineup seems to be so different because of all the guys that have been out?
Just being able to adapt. Like you said, lineup changes, guys being out, guys coming back, guys playing different roles. Just being able to adapt. I think that's been the biggest thing, and that's also, something that's helped me be able to adjust to playing with these guys. Different styles, different ways of play, and you just got to be able to read off of those guys what they want, what they need, and what you can do to help.
Appreciate the time, Marcus.
Thank you.
He doesn't get enough credit. Marcus Smart does not get enough credit on a team with LeBron and Luka, and rightfully so from a star's perspective. But what he's done, and especially as of late, catching a rhythm on both ends, big game, he doesn't get enough credit.
He showed leadership right away with his message and with his play. His first guy I've seen this season diving on floors. Also a very conscious player. I saw him try to get Ayton involved in the game one time by passed it to him like 2 or 3 times in a row. So he's been there. He's not like he's, hadn't been in the thick of things. He didn't win a championship with Boston, but he was a big part of their chemistry and their success before they won a championship. So he's a defensive guy that really focuses on it every night. Not like you're going to get defense from him sometime. You're going to get it every night. And tonight, he's going to have to lead that war to the defensive end.
Yeah, he's definitely the glue, and it showed from the first moment he stepped on the floor. He's always the guy trying to get DeAndre in the game, feeding him, or wherever has not gotten it going. And the fact that he's had to play a ton more minutes and more starts because of bodies being out. There was a moment where he wasn't shooting well from three, but he became the pick and pop guy that you have to respect now. Like we're setting screens with Luka or being in the corner. But like Big Game said, he's the first to get on the loose ball, dive on the floor. He's the first to get after somebody, take a charge. So he does a lot of the blue collar dirty work. And he's the first to praise his teammates and give them energy and life and try to encourage them. So he's done a great job of being that. And
So let me ask you something that's been eating at me since Monday night. When did we decide that the Lakers winning by 11 points against a Bulls team on a 4-game winning streak was somehow not impressive enough? Because I've been reading the reactions, I've been watching the talking heads dissect every possession, and all I keep hearing is, yeah, but and they should have, and what about the third quarter collapse? Listen, the Lakers went into Chicago, a building where they got swept last season, including that Josh Giddey half-court buzzer beater nonsense, and they put up 129 points on 56% shooting. Luka Doncic dropped 46 points with 11 assists. Rui Hachimura came off the bench and went 9 for 11 for 23 points. LeBron scored 20 of his 24 in the first half and then let the young guys close it out. And somehow, we're sitting here talking about what's wrong with this team instead of what's finally clicking. But that's not even the most fascinating part of this story, because while the Lakers were busy dismantling Chicago's win streak, Brian Windhorst dropped a bomb on national television that nobody seems to want to talk about, honestly. He basically said LeBron James has 3 options after this season, and one of them involves coming back to the Lakers on a drastically reduced salary so they can build around Luka. And if you think that's just speculation, you haven't been paying attention to how the Lakers have handled LeBron's situation this entire season. We're 10 days away from the trade deadline. Austin Reeves is about to come back from injury. Rui Hachimura just discovered his perfect role coming off the bench. The Lakers are 28-17, sitting 5th in the West, and they're 3-1 on this brutal 8-game road trip. But the real story, the one that's going to define this franchise for the next 5 years, is happening behind the scenes with contract negotiations, roster construction, and the delicate balance between honoring a legend and building for the future. So before we dive into all of that, make sure you hit that like button, because what I'm about to break down is going to change how you see this Lakers season. Let's start with what actually happened Monday night in Chicago, because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills watching people downplay this performance. The Lakers went into the United Center, a building where they got embarrassed twice last season, including that ridiculous 119-117 loss on Josh Giddey's half-court heave at the buzzer, and they absolutely dominated a Bulls team that had won 4 straight and was feeling themselves. Final score 129-118, but that doesn't tell the full story. Luka Doncic, he had 46 points on efficient shooting, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, and he completely took over the third quarter when Chicago made their inevitable run. LeBron James scored 20 of his 24 points in the first half, which means he did his damage early and then stepped back to let Luka cook in the second half. That's not a guy who's washed or checked out. That's a guy who understands game flow and knows when to be aggressive and when to facilitate. But here's what really caught my attention about this game. Rui Hachimura came off the bench and went 9 for 11 from the field, 4 for 5 from 3. Finished with 23 points in 29 minutes and was a plus 22. That's the 4th time this season he scored 20 plus points, and 3 of those games have come in the last week. This isn't a coincidence. The Lakers finally figured out how to use Rui properly, and it's unlocking everything for this team. He's not being asked to guard the other team's best wing for 35 minutes. He's not being forced to stand in a corner all game waiting for someone to pass him the ball. He's coming off the bench, playing 25 to 30 minutes against second units, and he's absolutely against Chicago every time the Bulls made a run and cut the lead to single digits. Rui would hit a huge three-pointer or make a smart cut to the basket, and the Lakers would push the lead back to double digits. Marcus Smart also deserves credit for this win because he made the play of the game that nobody's talking about. Chicago had just gone on a massive run in the third quarter, cutting a 13-point halftime lead all the way down to 1 when Nikola Vucevic hit 2 free throws to make it 81-80 with 6.5 minutes left in the third. The building was rocking, the Bulls had all the momentum, and it felt like the Lakers were about to do what they always do, which is blow a big lead and make it harder on themselves than it needs to be. But Smart came down and converted a 3-point play that completely shifted the energy back to the Lakers. Luka followed that up with 2 free throws. Rui hit another 3, and suddenly it was 89-80, and the game was over. The Lakers outscored Chicago 37-29 in the fourth quarter and cruised to an 11-point win. The shooting numbers tell the story. The Lakers shot 56% from the field, 46 for 82, and they were 16 for 33 from three-point range. That's 48.5% from deep, which is exceptional considering this is the worst three-point shooting team in basketball coming into the game. Luka hit 8 threes by himself. The Lakers also dominated the fast break points battle 27-19, which is insane when you consider Chicago is one of the fastest teams in the league and they rank 5th in fast break points per game. LeBron and Luka beat them at their own game, using transition opportunities off long rebounds and turnovers to get easy buckets. The Lakers only turned the ball over 8 times, which is their second fewest of the season, while forcing Chicago into 15 turnovers and scoring 23 points off of those mistakes. Now, thinking it through, there's still the issue of the third quarter where the Lakers let Chicago score 24 of the first 36 points to cut that 13-point lead to 1. That's a pattern that keeps showing up, and it's concerning. The Lakers can't keep spotting teams double-digit leads and expecting to come back every time. Against Dallas, they spotted them 15 points and barely escaped. Against the Clippers, they gave up 26 and never recovered. Against Chicago, they gave up the lead entirely in the third before regaining control. At your only point, you're going to run into a team that doesn't let you come back, and that game is going to cost you a playoff series. But for now, the Lakers are 28-17. They're 3-1 on this road trip, and they've won 4 of their last 5 games. That's progress. Even if the process is messy, let me tell you about the most important discovery the Lakers have made all season, and it happened completely by accident. Rui Hachimura is thriving as a 6th man, and I mean genuinely thriving in a way that's solving multiple problems for this roster. Against Chicago, Rui put up 23 points on Novia Vilovin's shooting, went 4 for 5 from 3, grabbed 2 rebounds, had a block and a steal, and finished with a plus 22 rating in 29 minutes off the bench. That's the type of performance that wins you 6th Man of the Year awards. And here's the thing. Rui isn't doing anything different than he was doing when he was starting earlier this season. He's taking the same shots, he's making the same reads, he's playing the same style of basketball. The only difference is that now he's coming off the bench, playing against second units, and he doesn't have to carry the defensive burden of guarding elite wings for 35 minutes a night. This all started when Rui came back from his calf injury a few weeks ago. JJ Redick decided to bring him off the bench to ease him back into the rotation rather than throw him straight into the starting lineup. And in those first couple games back, Rui looked rusty. He had one game where he was completely ineffective and people immediately started calling for him to be traded. But I said it then, and I'll say it again. We needed to be patient. We needed to let Rui find his rhythm, get his legs under him, and figure out how to fit into this new role. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. Over the last 3 games, Rui has been one of the Lakers' most consistent players. He's shooting efficiently, he's making big shots in big moments, and he's completely bought into this 6th man role. What makes this so valuable is that Rui is still closing games when the Lakers go small. That small ball lineup with LeBron, Luka, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, and Rui has been devastating. Against Dallas, that lineup scored 34 points in 10 minutes with a plus 17 rating. Against Chicago, they used similar lineups to pull away in the fourth quarter. So Rui is still playing 29 minutes, he's still impacting winning basketball, and he's still on the floor in crunch time. The only difference is that he's not being asked to start games against the other team's best wing defender, and he's not being overextended trying to guard players he doesn't have the lateral quickness to stay with. This is the perfect role for Rui, and it took the Lakers 5 months to figure it out. And here's what really impressed me about Rui's response to this role change. He was asked by reporters how he feels about coming off the bench, and his answer was perfect. He said, quote, "Whatever it takes to win, I'm willing to do whatever this team needs. It's about the minutes and closing games, not about whether I start or come off the bench. I just want to help us win." That's the mentality you need from role players on championship teams. Rui isn't worried about his ego or his status. He's worried about winning, and he's found a role where he can maximize his impact. The Lakers went from having essentially no bench scoring to having a legitimate 6-man who can give you 15 to 25 points any given night. That's a massive swing. Now I believe the Lakers need to be very careful about how they handle Rui moving forward, especially with the trade deadline coming up. There are reports that Detroit wants him in a trade for Karis LeVert and Javonte Green, and I've already said why. I think that's a terrible deal. But more importantly, The Lakers finally found the perfect role for Rui. And trading him now would be like selling your car right after you finally figured out how to drive manual transmission. Unless you're getting back a clear upgrade. Someone who moves the needle significantly. There's no reason to trade Rui right now. He's 26 years old, he's on a reasonable contract, and he's producing at a high level in a role that fits him perfectly. That's not a player you trade for spare parts. Now we need to talk about the elephant in the room that's about to walk back into the Lakers rotation, and that's Austin Reeves. JJ Redick said after the Dallas game that Reeves has been doing full contact work in practice and has already played in one stay-ready game, which is basically a scrimmage with the coaching staff and practice squad guys. The plan is for Reeves to play in one more stay-ready game, and then he'll be back in the lineup possibly as soon as Wednesday against Cleveland. That's huge news for the Lakers because Reeves was arguably their second best player before the injury. He was averaging 26.6 points, 6.3 assists, and 5.2 rebounds per game, and his absence has been felt in every single game he's missed. Getting him back is like making a trade without giving up any assets. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is what I've been thinking about all week. When Reeves comes back, who goes to the bench? The current starting lineup is Marcus Smart, Luka, Jake LaRavia, and whoever else JJ decides to throw out there depending on matchups. That starting five has actually been pretty good over the last few games. Smart brings veteran leadership and defensive intensity. LaRavia brings energy, rebounding, and hustle plays. Luka is Luka. So when Reeves comes back, does Marcus Smart go to the bench? Does Jake LaRavia get demoted? And more importantly, does Rui stay in his six-man role, or does someone try to convince JJ to bring him back into the starting lineup? From a pure basketball perspective, the ideal scenario would be for Reeves to come off the bench for the first few games on a minutes restriction while he gets his legs back under him. The Lakers could bring him in during the second quarter when LeBron goes to the bench, let him run the offense with the second unit, and then have him close games with Luka and LeBron in the fourth quarter. That way, you're not disrupting the chemistry of the starting lineup. You're giving Reeves time to shake off the rust, and you're adding another legitimate ball handler and playmaker to the bench unit. But realistically, that's probably not going to happen. Reeves is too good to be coming off the bench long term, and his agent probably isn't thrilled about the idea of him being relegated to a six-man role when he's putting up 26 points a game. So the most likely scenario is that Reeves comes back into the starting lineup after a game or two on a minutes restriction, and either Marcus Smart or Jake LaRavia moves to the bench. If I had to guess, I think Smart's the one who goes to the bench because LaRavia has been rock solid in the starting lineup, and his size and rebounding are valuable next to Luka and LeBron. Smart would still play 25 to 30 minutes off the bench. He'd still close games in big moments, and he'd bring that veteran presence to the second unit. That's not a demo. That's smart roster management. But we'll see what JJ decides to do because this is going to be one of the most important rotation decisions of the season. Thinking about it more, the Lakers are about to have a real depth problem in the best possible way. If Reeves comes back and plays starter minutes, and Rui continues thriving as a sixth man, and Smart is still getting 25 to 30 minutes off the bench, suddenly you have three legitimate scoring threats who can all create their own shot and make plays for others. That's a luxury most teams don't have. The Lakers went from having the worst bench scoring in the NBA to potentially having one of the best benches in basketball, all because they figured out how to use their pieces correctly. Now they just need to not screw it up by making a panic trade at the deadline that disrupts this chemistry. This brings us to the decision that JJ Redick is going to have to make in the next few days, and it's genuinely one of the most difficult rotation calls I've seen this season. When Austin Reeves comes back into the starting lineup, someone has to go to the bench. And right now, the two candidates are Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia. Both guys have legitimate arguments for why they should stay in the starting five, and both guys would be valuable coming off the bench. So let's break down both sides of this debate because I think there are real pros and cons to either decision. The case for keeping Marcus Smart in the starting lineup is pretty straightforward. He's a veteran with championship experience. He makes winning plays that don't always show up in the box score. He's constantly communicating on defense, pointing out screens, calling out switches, and making sure everyone's in the right position. He's averaging 12 points per game over the last few weeks, and he's shooting the three ball at a solid clip. More importantly, Smart has this uncanny ability to make momentum-shifting plays in big moments. That three-point play he converted against Chicago when the Bulls had all the momentum. That's what Smart does. He makes the hustle play, he takes the charge, he dives on the loose ball, he hits the timely three. Those are the types of plays that win playoff games. and you want that presence in your starting lineup. The case for keeping Jake LaRavia in the starting lineup is equally compelling. LaRavia is 23 years old. This is the first time he's gotten consistent minutes in his career, and he's been fantastic. He's averaging solid rebounding numbers. He brings energy and hustle on every possession, and he's got great size at 6 feet 7 inches to defend multiple positions. Yes, he's been inconsistent offensively, but that's expected for a young player in his first real role. Some nights he'll give you 20 plus points. Other nights he'll struggle to find his rhythm and finish with 5 or 6, but the rebounding and defensive effort are always there, and he's shown the ability to hit big shots when the team needs them. Against Dallas, he had 13 points and 6 rebounds in 30 minutes. Against Chicago, he was solid again. The question is whether taking him out of the starting lineup might hurt his confidence and cause him to regress. If I had to make the call, I'd probably go with Marcus Smart staying in the starting lineup and LaRavia coming off the bench. And here's my reasoning. Smart's experience and leadership are invaluable, especially in close games and playoff scenarios. He knows how to play with superstars. He's been in big moments his entire career, and he doesn't need the ball in his hands to impact the game. LaRavia is still developing, and bringing him off the bench doesn't mean he's not important to the team. He'd still play 20 to 25 minutes. He'd still be in the rotation, and he might actually thrive in a role where he's not being asked to guard the other team's best wing every possession. You could bring him in during the second quarter when the pace picks up and let him use his athleticism and energy to impact the game against bench unit. But I also understand the argument for keeping LaRavia in the starting 5 to maintain his confidence and continue his development. Sometimes young players need that stability of knowing they're going to start every game, knowing they're going to get their minutes regardless of how the game is going. If you yank LaRavia out of the starting lineup right when he's starting to figure things out, that could mess with his head and cause him to second guess himself. So I get it. This is a tough call, and there's no perfect answer. Either way, someone's going to the bench, and JJ Redick is going to have to make that decision in the next 48 hours. I just hope he doesn't overthink it and does what's best for winning games right now, not what's best for managing egos. Now, let's talk about the story that should be dominating every conversation about the Lakers, but somehow isn't getting the attention it deserves. Brian Windhorst went on national television this week and laid out LeBron James 3 options after this season. And if you read between the lines, it's pretty clear where this is heading. According to Windhorst, LeBron has 3 paths forward. Option 1, he comes back to the Lakers next season on a significantly reduced salary as the team builds around Luka Doncic. Option 2, he signs with another team as a free agent and chases another championship somewhere else. Option 3, he retires and walks away from basketball after 23 seasons. And notably, there's a 4th option that Windhorst says is not on the table, which is LeBron coming back to the Lakers at anywhere close to his current $52.6 million salary. Let me be very clear about what Windhorst is saying here, because I think some people are missing the implications. He's not suggesting that LeBron should take a pay cut. He's not saying that LeBron doesn't deserve to be paid like a max player. What he's saying is that the Lakers, as an organization, cannot afford to pay LeBron $50 plus million next season if they want to build a championship caliber roster around Luka Doncic. Luka is on a 3-year $161.3 million contract. Austin Reeves is going to need an extension soon. The Lakers need to maintain flexibility to make moves at the trade deadline and in free agency. And you simply can't do that if you're paying a 42-year-old player $60 million, no matter how good he still is. This isn't about LeBron's value. This is about roster construction and salary cap mathematics. Windhorst put the chances of LeBron coming back to the Lakers on a reduced contract at around 33%, which he described as reasonable. He also pointed out that this would not be unprecedented for LeBron, who famously took less money in Miami to play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and who talked openly about the importance of financial sacrifice for team success back in 2013. But here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. LeBron is 41 years old. He's in year 23 of his NBA career, and while he's still producing at an extremely high level, averaging 24.8 points, 7.5 rebounds, 7.3 assists, and 2 steals over his last 12 games, the reality is that he's not the franchise cornerstone anymore. Luka Doncic is the franchise cornerstone. The Lakers' entire future is built around Luka, and everything they do from a roster construction standpoint has to be with Luka's timeline in mind, not LeBron's. And here's where it gets really interesting. Windhorst also mentioned that the Lakers did not issue a public statement when LeBron opted into his contract for this season, which is unusual for a player of his stature. Last year, when LeBron signed his contract extension, Rob Pelinka put out a 115-word statement praising LeBron and talking about what he means to the franchise. This year, nothing. Windhorst had to actually call the team in the league office to confirm that LeBron had officially opted in because there was no announcement. That's not a coincidence. That's the Lakers sending a message, whether intentionally or not, that they're moving on from the LeBron era and fully committing to the Luka era. Now, I believe this is the right move for the Lakers organizationally, even if it feels uncomfortable to say. LeBron James is one of the greatest players in NBA history, and everything he's done for this franchise over the last 8 years deserves to be honored and respected. He brought them a championship in 2020. He's been a consummate professional through all the ups and downs. He's helped bring Luka Doncic to Los Angeles through the trade, but at some point, you have to make decisions based on the future, not the past. And the future of this franchise is a 26-year-old superstar who's leading the league in scoring and has another decade of elite basketball ahead of him. If that means LeBron has to take a significant pay cut to stay, or if it means he decides to go chase another ring somewhere else, then so be it. The Lakers can't let nostalgia and loyalty prevent them from doing what's best for the organization long term. Which brings us to the trade deadline, which is now 10 days away, and the Lakers absolutely have to make a move. Not a panic move, not a desperate move, but a smart, calculated move that addresses their biggest weaknesses without mortgaging the future. The deadline is February 5th at noon Pacific time, and right now the Lakers are being linked to about half the league. Andrew Wiggins keeps coming up as a target. Najee Marshall from the Mavericks is supposedly available. Jonathan Kuminga is sitting there with the Warriors desperately trying to trade him. And then there are all the role players and veterans who could help on the margins. Guys like Dorian Finney-Smith and others who aren't going to move the needle dramatically but could provide depth and versatility. The problem the Lakers have is that they don't have a lot of high-value trade assets. Gabe Vincent is an expiring contract, but he's not playing well, and nobody's going to give up anything significant for him. Maxi Kleber is in the same boat. Jared Vanderbilt has some value as a defensive specialist, but his injury history and his contract make him tough to move. The Lakers' future first-round picks have lost some of their value now that Luka is on the roster because teams know those picks are going to be in the 20s, not the lottery. So unless the Lakers are willing to part with Rui, which they absolutely should not do, they're pretty limited in what they can offer. Andrew Wiggins would be the ideal target if the Lakers could figure out a way to make the money work. Wiggins is exactly what this team needs. A two-way wing who can defend multiple positions, shoot the three ball at a respectable clip, and doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective. But the Miami Heat are going to want significant assets in return, probably including a first-round pick and multiple expiring contracts. And I'm not sure the Lakers can put together a package that makes sense for both sides. Najee Marshall from the Mavericks is interesting because he's a solid defender and he can knock down open threes. But Dallas reportedly wants a first-round pick for him. And again, I'm not sure the Lakers should be giving up picks for role players when they need to preserve those assets for a bigger move down the line. The one player I keep coming back to is Jonathan Kuminga, and I'm stunned that the Lakers aren't all over this. Kuminga requested a trade from Golden State on January 5th. He's out indefinitely with a knee injury, which means his value is artificially low right now. He's 23 years old, he's got all-star upside, and he's desperate to get out of Golden State and prove himself in a new situation. The Warriors don't want to take back long-term money. They're trying to stay flexible for next season, and they've made it clear there's no real market for Kuminga right now. This is the definition of a buy low opportunity, and the Lakers could probably get him for Rui Hachimura, Shaka G. Vanderbilt, and a future first-round pick. That's a risk worth taking for a 23-year-old wing with his potential. But thinking it through realistically, the Lakers are probably going to stand pat at the deadline and tell us they explored every option but couldn't find a deal that made sense. We've heard this story before. Every single year, it's the same excuse. The Lakers don't have the assets. They don't want to give up future flexibility. They're waiting for a bigger move in the summer. And every single year, they waste championship windows because they're too afraid to pull the trigger on anything. Rob Pelinka needs to understand that you can't keep punting on opportunities to improve this roster. Hachimura point, you have to go for it. And with Luka in his prime, with LeBron still playing at an all-star level, with Austin Reeves about to come back, this is a year where you should be aggressive. But I have a feeling we're going to get to February 6th, the day after the deadline, and the Lakers are going to run it back with the same roster and hope it's enough. And if that happens, this season is going to end in disappointment. Let me wrap this up by zooming out and talking about the bigger picture here, because I think all of these storylines From the Bulls win to Rui's emergence to Austin Reeves coming back to LeBron's contract situation to the trade deadline, they're all connected to one central theme. The Lakers are in transition. They're transitioning from the LeBron James era to the Luka Doncic era. And that transition is messy and complicated and uncomfortable. You can see it in how they handled LeBron's contract opt-in with no public statement. You can see it in Brian Windhorst talking about LeBron needing to take a pay cut. You can see it in the trade deadline, rumors focusing on building a roster around Luka's timeline. Not LeBron's. This isn't a criticism of anyone involved. This is just the reality of where the Lakers are as a franchise right now. And here's what I think the Lakers need to understand as they navigate this transition. You can honor the past while building for the future. You can respect everything LeBron James has done for this organization while also acknowledging that Luka Doncic is the cornerstone moving forward. You can make roster moves with Luka's timeline in mind while still maximizing LeBron's remaining years. These things aren't mutually exclusive. But what you can't do is let nostalgia and loyalty prevent you from making the tough decisions that need to be made. If LeBron wants to come back next season on a reduced salary and play a complementary role on a championship team, that's fantastic. If he decides he wants to go chase another ring somewhere else as the main guy, you wish him well and you move on. Either way, the Lakers have to commit fully to building around Luka Doncic. The good news is that the pieces are starting to come together. Rui Hachimura found his role. Austin Reeves is about to come back. The small ball lineup with LeBron at the 5 has been devastating. Luka is leading the league in scoring and looking more comfortable every game. The Lakers are 28-17. They're the 5th seed and they're trending in the right direction. But they're not a championship team yet. They need one more piece, maybe two, to get over the hump. And they have 10 days to figure out if they're going to go get those pieces or if they're going to stand pat and hope what they have is enough. I hope they choose the former, because this team with the right additions could be really special. But without those additions, they're just another good team that's going to flame out in the second round. Drop your comments below. Do you think LeBron should take a pay cut to stay with the Lakers? Should they trade for Jonathan Kuminga? Who should go to the bench when Austin Reeves comes back? Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in the next one.